You had the head rabbi for Barnard in Columbia tell Jewish students, you might want to stay home for a couple of days. Columbia had virtual option classes for Jewish students who might feel unsafe. As we embark on the Passover holiday, is it incumbent on university officials to nip this in the bud, or is it Congress? Who draws the line and says, free speech ends, this is anti-Semitism?
Well, it's up to the college to decide on the ground what's going on. By the way, notice that these tents are all the same. This is organized. These are not from young people deciding that they just want to go out and protest. This is an organized effort. You see every college are doing it. The tents look exactly the same. So it's been funded by something. I think the bottom line is this. We will make sure that the colleges are holding to their tenets, their goal, which is to educate our young people. When we have a group of people, Jewish students that cannot come to campus because they feel threatened, that they're losing, that colleges have lost the ability to do the education they need to have. And we need to hold them accountable for that. So what it comes down to is this. Jewish students are being told not to show up. These folks are showing up and they're literally using anti-Semitic language and thoughts and hatred. It's very obvious what's going on here. These are pro-Hamas people. These are folks that are saying, I am Hamas. So if the college cannot keep a system or an environment that's safe, they're doing something wrong and they need to be held accountable for that.
So I want to put up this tweet the committee posted today, and I want to talk about the letter the committee sent. This was yesterday. The committee sent this letter to Dr. Shafik. She's the president of Columbia. Mr. David Greenwald, he's a co-chair of the Board of Trustees at Columbia, and Claire Shipman, she's also a co-chair at the Board of Trustees at Columbia. The committee says this, that 3 actions Columbia President Shafik must take right now. Order law enforcement to clear out the unlawful encampment of anti-Semitic protesters, to expel the students involved. 3, terminate the Columbia faculty involved. Now, President Shafik did this. She did number 1 last week, Congressman, and then the encampment kind of came back over the weekend. She just was in front of your committee last week, Congressman. Were you satisfied with some of her answers, and do you think she needs to resign? And I want to put this live picture up right now. It looks like more of these demonstrators marching through the city. They're in New York City. It looks like they've lit something on fire, kind of like a flare here as they march in New York City. So I know there was a lot of questions, Congressman, but if you could, does the Columbia University president need to resign?
Well, she's not doing the job she's supposed to be doing right now. The fact that Jewish people, Jewish students have to leave the campus says everything. And you're right. Put in place those 3 things that were asked for. Expel the students that are causing chaos, that are causing fear. Expel the professors who are at the very core, the very genesis of this anti-Semitism, and they've been there for quite a while. And make sure there's a safe campus. Get rid of those tents. It's a very easy thing to do. And for the president to do that one time, and then allow them to come back, and not to allow the police to come back and do their job, says everything about how much courage she does not have to make this work. And this should be a place of study, of education, of focus, of getting where people can really talk to each other, because they might be a little different in the way they think. This is not happening right now. It's been overrun by our anarchists, and it's been overrun by people who hate a particular culture, and that should never be a part of what we're doing. It's across the country, by the way, and look at other colleges that are dealing with it a little bit differently. I think Yale is taking the right approach, and I think because they're not going to have the issues that Columbia has right now.
So we saw just in the last hour NYPD officers clear the encampment at NYU. We saw it happen on Columbia's campus last week, and then it kind of revivified and came back over the weekend. And today it was largely peaceful at Columbia today, not so much downtown at NYU. In the letter, this is bolded in the letter, sir. Columbia's continued failure to restore order and safety promptly to campus constitutes a major breach of the university's Title VI obligations, upon which federal financial assistance is contingent and which must immediately be rectified. Will members of the committee, with your colleagues, threaten federal funding for some of these universities if they don't get this under control?
Absolutely. It's all about outcome. That's our oversight. We have the power of the purse. and it really has not been used on these college campuses for quite a while because it has not been a focused Republican conference that prioritized education that's been in control. The days have changed. There's a different sheriff in town. We're going to prioritize outcome. We're going to make sure that kids are feeling safe on those campuses, and things like anti-Semitism, the jihadist KKK will not feel that they're at home on these campuses. And again, take a look at how Yale has dealt with it. Quite different to Columbia, so it can be dealt with. If accountability, if suspension is sending these people back to their country because if they don't have a student visa, they have to go back. And if you do those kind of things, it will resonate. And these students, if they're here to get an education, if that's the case, they will get an education. If they're here to be activists, then they will continue to be activists until they're sent back home, and there will not be a problem for these campuses for sure.
All right, Congressman Burgess Owens, thanks so much for this extended conversation, and we'll definitely check in again. Appreciate your time, sir.
Thank you, Andrew. Appreciate it. All the best.